Welcome to VNfiniti,
the podcast where we talk
and you listen.
We're your hosts, Ashley
and Tori. Hey, girl.
Hey, boo. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's September and it is Virgo season. So you know what that means,
Virgo
right?
season. Tell me what that means.
It means we're getting older, girl. We're getting older.
Hold on.
No.
That's not what I came up with. No. Oh. I came up with the celebration.
Oh, we celebrating. We celebrate.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a celebration for a new zodiac sign, but definitely Virgo. Definitely Virgo. Well, we celebrate all zodiacs, but you and I, because we have that in common.
Yes,
we have that. We have that Virgo connection.
Hey.
Yeah. So, that's just one more thing for us to vibe on.
It definitely is. As Virgos, we get a lot of heat. We get a lot of heat. And I have no idea why. Like, why everybody got a problem with us?
What I do frequently hear is I do get that reaction. If it's a Virgo, it's like, there's that instant kind of connection or whatever. And we can see it, and we're always willing to celebrate, I think others are too. It's not always grief, but it is one of those once someone has a moment to make an observation and then they learn that you are that, or maybe that's something they're interested in. They ask, and then they want to know, what's your sign? You say, Virgo. I should have known. I know. Because you did, I seen this and you do this and, y'all Virgos
super analytical.
Like that, you always get these
real critical.
Why that is, I don't know. What's the deal?
I don't know. One of the things I get a lot of, because I am a Virgo, is the fact that I have this complete honesty that a lot of people can't necessarily take, and it's unbeknownst us. So apparently, as Virgos, and I say this because I don't see me doing this, but we can be a little cutthroat with our honesty. So we just come out outright with it. What do you think?
I think if we're asked for it, I don't think we're the type to just,
volunteer advice,
volunteer anything. No, I don't think we do that. And I think that's something that people, I know I've heard before, because I definitely don't assert myself into too many situations, conversations, chatter, just whatever. But if I'm asked my opinion and I give it, it may appear that I'm not present or that I'm not alert.
So I have some Virgo little traits, and I just want to bounce them off of you to see how you relate to them, and how they relate to other, I guess would say, other signs. So
okay, that's good. That's good. Because considering we have a sun moon, we have a sun sign and a moon sign as well.
Right.
Okay.
So here's one. It says Virgos can sometimes ignore feelings and try to shove them aside or under the rug. So I can definitely say this is something that I struggle with personally. And a lot of it has to do, and I think this comes up a lot, and I've seen this with other people that have Virgo traits and are Virgos, as you mentioned, sun and moon sign. We tend to try to keep peace. And because of that, we'll let stuff slide or we'll shove it under the rug for so long. And then we reach our max and we explode. Can you relate?
Yes, I can definitely relate to that. I definitely can say that I've known that about myself. And I think I've seen that in other people. But yeah, for sure. Like, I do know. And some maybe may even perceive it as being cold, but I think that we try to preserve our feelings, so we don't try to, get attached to too many things, because we know our capacity for unconditional relationships, however that may be. So we do try to kind of put up some boundaries. Mm-hmm. Yeah, put up some boundaries and, kind of ignore some things and attempt to avoid those. Yeah. Unnecessary. And it's some of it is priority too, what we give, our priority to, what we deem as a priority. But sometimes things are a priority And then all of a sudden, still that they're not a priority, or it may not seem that pressing, but that little drip, just kind of,
yeah. And speaking of one, which that pow, it says Virgo women can go from being calm to critical real quick.
In an instant. Any conversation can be passionate. that if that's any conversation can be a passionate conversation. If it's something if it's something that touches me, I'm gonna go from 0 to like, let me explain myself. Let me tell you. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And see, like, my thing is, after I've swept under the rug so many times, like, you would never know that I've swept under the rug. Like, I sweep under the rug so often, you be thinking like you skating on ice. That you just gliding. But then when
chance after
chance, I go from being real calm and smooth on that ice to all hell breaks loose.
There it is.
You
ain't had no choices. You ain't had no choice. You kept being pushed. Don't push them close to the edge, sis.
So Virgos are far more observant and analytical and see things that others may miss.
Virgos certainly have, I know more Virgos, because once you know Virgo, you know Virgo, right?
Yeah, we got
right. So I know many Virgos because, like this. I don't know. It's interesting. But this affiliation sort of. But absolutely. But now, do I see that in other zodiac signs? Absolutely. You know what I mean? I think that's how we, how people connect.
And I think it's how we react to those too.
I was about to say, I think that we have an attraction.
Yeah, so we
those types.
We can pick it out. We can see it. As I said before, I will sweep a whole lot of under the rug without you knowing it. So you can pick stuff out, analyze it, view it, and it may not ever be spoken on or ever come up again. But
mental note. I made a note.
Mm-hmm. I see you, boo.
Yeah, and we'll remember. Yes, we'll remember.
So this is one of the traits that I think is kind of like one of the most genuine traits of a Virgo. And it sometimes get us in trouble as well. I think that almost every Virgo that I know is willing to help without attaching a bunch of strings or conditions or stipulations. So we have like this whole little sensitive, soft-heartedness about us. Like,
legit,
we would take on things just because of it, and just take on and take on and take on. And legit. I think it gets us in trouble sometimes. Like, I know personally, I agree. It's something that I struggle with from a boundaries perspective. Like, I will volunteer. I was out somewhere the other day, and I know everybody had it under wrap. The first thing I said is, do y'all need help? And everybody at the table were like, who is this random woman asking if we needed some help? I mean, I'm early. I'm at this event. I'm here, to support people and friends. So
yeah, absolutely.
How can I help?
Yeah, I definitely. I think it's definitely something that we do. We're service. We give service. We provide service. And I will say, now it looks different. It doesn't all look the same. I say that because I know a lot of Virgos. Now I know one that they'll give you. I know all of them that I know will give you and do for you in many ways. But it's not all gonna look the same. But we're definitely people of service.
So this other one is we try to see the absolute best in every scenario. Has that gotten you into trouble? Are you like the optimistic one out of all of?
I was about to say, but I don't think that has gotten me into much trouble. Now, I think that goes back to the part where we are willing to keep giving and giving and giving, and sometimes we are taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do that blindly over and over and over again. I'm gonna give, like, it may be a little guarded, but I'm gonna give the same effort until I'm proven wrong. You know what I mean? So I would say that.
With me, I definitely try to see the best outcome and be as optimistic as possible. And I know that, like, when I'm around people expect that of me. So as soon as like I give like a bad report, it's kind of like, whoa, like all hell is going to break loose because Ashley don't see a good way out of this situation. Or
that can be a lot to carry around.
It is, yeah. Well, I guess we are.
Yeah, that can be heavy.
But yeah, that can be kind of heavy.
As Virgos, you know, like we pour out a lot, but we don't always allow others to
support
into us.
I thought that I was the only person that did that. Do you think that's a Virgo trait?
Yes, I absolutely think it's a Virgo trait. I think it's hard. I think
someone said that. So I read this thing the other week, and it was talking about zodiac signs, and it was talking about the signs that are the hardest to love, and Virgo ranked kind of at the bottom, and I was really surprised because to me, I think that out of all the signs, Virgos truly get along with everyone. But as I said at the beginning of this episode, not everyone gets along with Virgos.
Yeah, but we try to be very independent, and that doesn't mean independent solely in the sense that we're going to claw our way to make sure that to do our best to make sure that our basics are taken care of, but also independent in the sense where, you know, we can have connections, but we don't want to rely on those connections or to pull on those connections too much.
Because we know how
we like those mutual spaces where we can be there to support others.
And I think that's part of like us giving so much. Like we give so much, so we know how draining it is, and we don't want to be a burden on other people.
We don't. You're right. We don't. You know, and so we shelter our things. You know, and it is still part of our service. It's of service to other people to not burden you with our things.
Exactly, because we got some things. Because when you start talking about that overthinking,
girl, and if you want to have these conversations, I done told you if it touches the passion, if you touch that target, can't you take them there? If they push that button, they push that button, can't they take you there?
Girl, you can jump down a rabbit hole with a Virgo, and they'll think they way through the other side of the earth.
Girl, you better go ahead and take a nap.
And still can't do that because you're thinking while you sleep. Wake up and start doing.
No, I ain't talking about us. I'm talking about the person that wants to have this conversation.
Right.
You better take a nap.
Yeah. Do you got time today?
Whatever it is.
Because I'm gonna look at this, as I said, from all different angles.
Yeah. And we can pick up on it tomorrow.
Yes. And we won't.
And the next time. And we're not gonna forget. We done told you that.
Yeah. Back to this Virgos being hard to love. Back to this Virgos being hard to love. So one of the things that it was talking about was the fact that it takes some time for us to actually open up and allow ourselves to be loved. Because again, like we said, we don't really want that burden part. But with that, they said that once we become one of the we become one of the most hilarious people. We love hard and we love deep.
Loyal.
Yes, definitely loyal. And we relax ourselves sexually. So I thought that was interesting.
That's very interesting. Right?
Right. It's very interesting. Do you rely heavily on zodiac signs or compatibility when it comes to looking at who you are as a Virgo? Or has it impacted how you interact or love with other folks? Just for y'all out there, my girl Tori is actually one of 3 Virgos in her household. So like, how is that?
I am that. Girl, let me tell you something. It's juicy, girl, every single day. To sit and watch these little stages.
Do you see a lot of yourself in them? I mean, outside of the fact that they're your mini-me's.
Yes. And so, to be honest with you, my brother is a Virgo. And I am a Virgo. My brother and my oldest share the same birthday. And so, and growing up with him and now having my 2 growing up together as both Virgos, that's interesting to watch.
Oh yeah.
So the siblingship is interesting to watch. And then yes, I see some similarities or some characteristics in my oldest that actually do remind me of my brother. And then Olivia, my youngest, I see just Virgo characteristics in her. You know what I mean? Now, in terms of like my focusing on zodiacs in terms of like love relationships or whatever. So I've never like targeted those types of relationships or, in terms of what I might be most compatible with. I've never even kept it in my mind enough to say I'm most compatible with this person or this person. I think I see it, on these memes and sorts, and I've read it before, but I can't say that I kind of connect with that much. But I will say that in dating people, you may look at their signs and still try to pick up traits about them, based on past experiences, people that or relatives even. So like, or just people, period. I don't even think it's solely relationships, but I will say that, I can say like, I have, thought maybe like my husband and my mom have share the same sign. And I see things about their their zodiac traits that are like similar, and how, so I do see that in just people in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I don't think I've given much thought to how my sign relates to relationships, but I can say it's weird because like all of my old friendships or some of my close friendships have really centered around like particular signs. So it's like really weird. Some of my closest friends are Tauruses. Like I can go down a list, starting with my grandmother all the way to like my childhood best friend, my college best friend. And then if not, like the other closest sons, related to me are Virgos. So it's weird in that sense, to where I have like these clusters of relationships that center around the same particular sign. And then I have like this full grouping of Aquarian people that are have like gravitated towards me, and then I have these wonderful, great relationships with.
That's interesting. Look, I love those connections. I'm gonna say, in that same space, I noticed that I have, like I was telling you, that I'm Virgo Libra cusp, and so I have, I do see, that I can when it comes to zodiac traits being similar, I do see similar traits because I've looked at the Libra. I want to know
how it might affect you. Yeah. I mean, how it might tie into like, or how you might
the Virgo, the connect, what's different. The opposing as well as the similarities, But also I was going to say the Cancer as well. So like my brother is a Cancer, and so is my mother-in-law, and my moon sign is Cancer. And I certainly see, traits in us that are alike, and again, that those things that you share with one another and how you relate to them. And
I'm trying to remember if I know my moon sign.
I know one thing that I see, I hear or see frequently about Virgos is how we prefer to be within our own company than to be within the company of others, and I don't know what that says, because it's so interesting that I do know, that again, that Virgos can give so much of themselves that they frequently need to recharge, Yes. But I also know that about introverts, like you can give so much of yourself that you need, you have to set these boundaries and be willing to, to take care of yourself. And that's one of the things that they say that, that we're not willing to just open up and receive
love. Yeah, because we have
openly.
We have to,
because even that becomes a lot, because you're like, even your needing or feeling the need to pour into me kind of, that takes a lot of me. That takes a lot from me. So I'm really like, no, it's okay,
And I'll take to add on to that. So like I often get a lot of heat and it's really funny. I get a lot of heat for cutting people off. So like
segue to the next.
Yes. So like,
are you a ghoster?
Oh, I'm definitely
segue.
Hey, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little later.
That's interesting.
But
scissor.
But I get a lot of like this. Okay, so this is one of the things that we're notorious for, apparently, is a
Okay.
Virgo can, once they're finally like open or willing to be open or open to the idea of even being open, we can be really warm 1 second, and then like you do that magical thing and it's like, oh, time to go.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, your name again?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have no idea who this man is.
I'm sorry, I don't have that number in my phone. I don't have this contact in my phone.
Definitely will cut you off, especially if it's like you said, if it's bothering that peace of mind, or it's causing us to fully struggle with whether or not we want to be around other people.
We quickly learn people types.
Oh yes, because we're very observant.
And once we learn your type, once we learn your type, we know your type. And so I don't have to experience it too many more times to determine whether it's something I'm going to,
sweep under the rug,
continue on with in one way or another. Like, I'm going to put you in a category. I'm always going to be cordial. But in terms of like the depth of the relationship that I hold with you, or the depth of trust, or the depth of even acquaintanceship, like it's all going to be, I'm making decisions. I'm calculating things.
Yep.
But I think for the most part, I think that's what people do. Don't get me wrong. So I still think that
I think we better edit though.
Certainly.
I think
but it can certainly be relative to other, zodiac signs. But we certainly, it is definitely,
it's definitely a
high. Yeah, because at the end of the day, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. Listen, you're not about to keep making a fool of me. Obviously, it's me.
And speaking of me, I think one of the biggest things that we struggle with outside of the overthinking is Virgos are truly, truly, truly very critical of themselves. So a lot of times when we are pointing out things from the honesty perspective, and when we're talking about how we are with other people, it's more of how we're disappointed in ourselves for allowing certain things to happen within our realm than it is of that person's personal traits. Like, we are hypercritical of ourselves. We don't, and that's why, like, some people will like Virgos can dish out, but they can't take it. No, it has nothing to do with not being able to take it. It's the fact that we already heard the same thing that you're telling us from ourselves. So you just preaching to the choir at this point. Like, okay, you telling me that I didn't do a certain thing correctly. Of course, I know that because I've overanalyzed it. I've done it correctly in my head a million times after I've made the error in the first place. And now I'm beating myself up over it. So we're not mad at you for pointing it out. We're mad at ourselves for not pointing it out sooner.
Or that you had to point it out, like you said, right? Because at the end of the day, what I know about myself is I'm able to receive constructive criticism. I want to see the error of my ways because I want to make wrong a right. If there's a right. Now, if it is who I am, now I'm still probably going to, debate, however far that has to go, because I am who I am. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to conform too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's another reason as to why I do believe that I am the way that I am, that I will turn inward, and I will do those critiques, and I will be open to the feedback or whatever, but it's from people that you have to know me. You can't just,
come out of the blue.
You can't make this. No, you don't get to do that, because I don't give myself, to everybody on that. You know what I'm saying? So you really don't have the space or place to be making these assessments. Be it, do it, and judge how you may. But if you're going to bring it to me, come on, boo. Like,
yeah, I already did this 10 times in my head. Yeah.
Like, I know who I am.
Yep. And I know the error of my ways. Like, you ain't got to come to me with this.
But do, if you feel the need to, but we don't have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. Just know that, but in that space, I saw, that I was this is one of the things that you were mentioning. So this is like me when someone tries to get to know me, and the sign on the door says, "We are open." The door is just very heavy, right?
Right.
And so, and so we do love. It may take a lot because we're trying to see how it all fits together with who we are as a person first before we go and make those deep commitments with someone. But once we make that commitment, it's because, it's what you wanted. It's not because I'm imposing, you know what I mean? So in terms of it being what you want, like you have to know what it is that you want, and we're on the same page. So if you're able to push this door open, it's because you knew what you were coming for.
Right.
So if I'm giving you me unconditionally and you're not doing that, you half-stepping. That's why the door is heavy. Because if you want to push it open, you can push it open because you know what it requires.
Yep.
I don't know. I think Virgos like being alone. I think we like our own space. I think that's a part of our recharging and healing. And not just recharging and healing, but, just kind of recharging, because recharging is that loving on ourselves part that, we like to do in private. Like in all honesty, I'm sure plenty of other people do it, but I know that I sing and dance and, and just smile at myself, all day, like that's part of my recharging is to just, spend time with myself and giggle with myself and just, talk to myself, and I can get so high on that.
Yeah, just being. Like I can be in the bed all day and just enjoying it. And I look at the clock, I'll be like, dang, it's that time already.
And that's too what I know about myself. And that's why I don't make a lot of obligations, because I know me, girl. I will make commitments. Do what, when? Oh boy, I gotta see how I feel on that day. Like that's too far in advance for me to be making commitments. Yes. I know who I am. I'm gonna much rather just be home, having some tea, watching some comedy, just chuckling with myself to myself. I'm certain that there are other Virgos out there. And this is why I don't feel like I'm crazy, because I know
you know that we exist. So if you are a Virgo, please comment below, or hit us up on our Instagram account and just tell us how if we hit this on the head when it comes to our Virgo season, because I'm telling you, this is just me. I mean, I apologize if you don't like it.
I'm not. I am not. And that's the part where I do not assert myself on other people. I do not, and that therefore, if I am out being
that's the honesty right there.
Myself, you understand me? I am being me to myself for myself. I cannot be me better than. No one else can be me than me. I am the best me that I can be, and I am okay with that. And so, if there is an issue, it is not because.
It's not because of her.
It was me. So I will not.
I seen the meme too that said Virgos feel like they can't do nothing wrong. Look at her. I'm just kidding.
What a lie, girl. We always right. That ain't even true.
You know what? That is it. We are always
You can tell me. We can have these conversations.
It's not that we're not wrong. And that's why, it's that we're right.
No. It's that we're right. And that's the only part. And instead of me getting into debate with you, I'd rather us not even have the conversation. We don't even have to talk about this.
You know what? I will
because quite frankly,
keep it moving. I will okay you and keep it moving.
Hello. But hey, boo, what you know is what you know.
But and I'm not here to if you want to keep this going, I will pull some facts.
We can.
Because we analyze.
Don't come for me.
We analyze. That means that we got some bags of some facts. If it's National Geographic, if it's
first of all, I have to be.
If it's Google, we're gonna find out how right we are.
I have to be shoved to give it to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna push me up against the wall, so now I have to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
That's when we go from calm to feisty.
Gonna give it to you. Yeah. Gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. X is gonna give it to you.
Well, we thank you for tuning in to our Virgo season episode. And as always, thank you for listening to the podcast where we talk.
And you listen.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next time.
Happy Virgo season!